Good afternoon. A bit of a roundup video actually to kick the week off this Monday, beautiful Monday that we're having. You'll probably know that we've had about 2 weeks of rain now, aside from 2 days. There's been 2 nice days, but the rest of the time it has been thick blanket of grey and rain. So not sure what's going on there, but we'll get into that a little bit in a minute. Right, 8 stories for this video. This is an 8-part video. Won't be a very long video, don't worry. Gridserve, it's worse than you think. You've got to register your birds with the government. Floods in the USA. The Lower Thames crossing application. I'm going to talk a little bit about just how much money that's cost. BMW crashed my son's car. Hackers gained total control with just a number plate. Will the software always work? And a rare Volvo that we said would never come up for sale came up for sale yesterday, the same day that I said we would never find one. That's the sort of and finally at the end. So let's dive straight in. Gridserve, it's worse than you think. I've had a contact from a variety of different people, all of whom wish to remain anonymous. Gridserve, I think really all we can say is things are much worse than even I thought. So it is looking like Gridserve is in some major trouble, some very strange things going on there, and they are not the only EV solutions provider who's in trouble right now. There was one of Sweden's big providers is going down the pan as well. So if the EV movement is working and the EV solution providers charging people can't make any money off the back of it, then all of it will continue to collapse, won't it? Speaking of collapsing, actually, I think the UK government is in the process of collapsing, and there's been a fantastic resignation letter written by one of the Labour MPs, and if you want me to cover that on the channel, perhaps read the letter out, then let me know in the comments. I think a lot of commentators have already done that, but if you want me to do a video reading her resignation letter, then let me know. Right, registering your birds. We know that the government want you to eat processed, ultra-processed fake foods. We know that the government want complete control of the food supplies, and we know that you'll own nothing and be happy. Now, what the government have proposed, I think as of the 1st of October, is that you've got to register your birds. So everyone who's keeping, I mean, essentially, right, they're making it seem as if it's about flu and preventing another avian flu outbreak. But we all know this is about ensuring that people cannot provide their own meat and eggs from their own birds, which they can keep freely at home. So do me a favour, follow the link in the description and go online and register your birds. Let's give the government exactly what they want and let's inundate them with birds. Looking out the window right now, I've got one pigeon, and often we see pheasants around where we are as well. So I will ensure that the pigeon and the pheasants are registered. I quite enjoy a rotisserie chicken. Sometimes go to Waitrose when we're feeling flush. Rotisserie peri-peri chicken as well. So next time I pick one of those up, I will ensure that I register it with the government, because I think as this came around in a chat with Richard Vobes at the barn in Ledbury on Thursday, we can break the system bureaucratically and legally by giving them too much bureaucracy to deal with. So if the government wants us to register our chickens, well, let's all register our birds. You see a bird in your garden, you tell the government, okay? Let's all be good citizens. Part number 4 now we're into, the Lower Thames crossing application, right? Just listen to this for a minute if you haven't seen this in the news today. National Highways submitted its second planning application for the scheme, which will feature 23 kilometres of new road and the country's longest road tunnel at the start of November. This was the second attempt after the first application was withdrawn in November of 2020. So this is 23 kilometres of road. How much do you think they've spent on this so far? Bearing in mind they started in April 2017. They are now up to the latest application, which hasn't gone through yet. But so far, just on planning for 23 kilometres of road and a tunnel, just on the planning, they've spent £266 million. Absolutely insane. We know, just says a lot about the planning system, doesn't it? The 266.7 million spent by National Highways on the Development Consent Order, the DCO, application for its Lower Thames crossing scheme displays the increased complexity and scrutiny in the current planning system, according to a leading infrastructure planning lawyer. £266 million, and we haven't even lifted a spade up yet. Not that they would lift the spade up. And speaking of lifting spades up and indeed closing the roads, this is part 4A. The Thames Water have been fined a whole bunch of money for closing roads without relevant permissions. So when we've all been ranting on our videos saying there's something going on with the road closures, companies now are closing roads without permission. So we're right, basically. If we're driving around and going, why are all the roads closed all of the time? It's because people close the roads whenever they feel like it. So from Thames Water, we're now moving on to the floods in the USA. There is a link to a YouTube channel. Let me just find the name of the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is Adapt 2030, 183,000 subscribers. Popped up in my feed this morning about the imminent failure. 3 imminent catastrophic dam failures in 2 days. Here's some footage from it here. I recommend you go and watch the video because it's really important that you understand what's going on in the world. The weather is very, very strange right now, as I said at the start of this video. You've got 400 road closures currently in North Carolina, and these dams are due to collapse. And if they do, then it will be significant. So go and watch the video. Just wanted to make you aware of what's going on in the USA with the weather.
These dams were overtopping and the vast amount of water was coming down. This is going through neighborhoods and, places that you wouldn't think flooding was possible, rooftop depths. There's an enormous amount more images coming now that they have electricity and people are getting back online again a little bit. This is a place called Chimney Rock, cool little hiking area. Chimney Rock before, Chimney Rock after. That much water came down to literally scour a town out of the mountains. We're not being told something about our dam infrastructure here in the United States. Because looking at this is after it's sunny today, and the rivers are way down and very nice and tame. This is how big and raging they still are. They were little streams. Imminent dam failure, Lake Lure. So the warnings went out. And they're like, this is going to be an absolute catastrophic failure, flash flood emergency. So anywhere along that red was the river tributary that they were looking for this dam to actually break and that to come down. Now, the wall of water in the beginning would have been much higher, and as it could dissipate and spread, it would, come down substantially, but still the force of that. So what you're looking at, this is Lake Lure. Okay, so on the spillways, you have 3 of those, but what's the extra water gushing from the right side? That is the eroded hillside where the water was spilling out and around, and that's why I thought it was coming to imminent collapse. Now, the amount of water that they did have to spill and that did come over uncontrolled still sent this much debris and just wiped bridges away. This is going to cost hundreds of billions of dollars.
Right, on to some car stuff, which is odd for a car channel. 3 car stories now. This one is BMW crashed my son's car. Hi Geoff, I'm a subscriber and I love your channel and no nonsense commentary. Here's a story that might be of interest. My son put his BMW 4 Series in for an oil change under a BMW service plan, and then he got a call from the garage. There's a bit of a problem, sir. Your car has been in an accident. Several stories later, it emerged that the car was being driven on the road by an employee who crashed the car. Why was it being driven on the road? I've no idea. The dealership have now offered to repair the damage, but refused to acknowledge that the car has lost value now that it's been in an accident, which obviously it has. He's asked them to buy it from him at the retail price, which they've refused to do. In fact, they offered him £6,000 less than he paid for it less than a year ago. The dealership seems to think that all they need to do is repair the car and that's their responsibility done. BMW not interested in getting involved. And to top it all off, my son got a call from his insurance company yesterday as the third-party insurer is now looking to claim repairs from his insurance policy. So the employee that has been driving the car around crashed this gentleman's car, obviously into somebody else, and now the insurance of the other party is classing him as liable, even though it was being driven by a technician. I'm sure this can't be the first time this has happened, but some guidance for your viewers on rights and what to do, etc. might be useful. And if you happen to be able to give us some guidance, it would be appreciated. Thanks, and keep up the great work. Keep pushing them, basically, because let me know in the comments what you think about this situation. If a dealer had crashed my car, they would be buying it at the full price of the, they'd be buying the car off me. So keep pushing them. Next story here, we're talking about Kia. Okay, hackers gain total control with just a number plate. This is an interesting one, and again, find the link. It's actually from PC World. I didn't know PC World still existed, but the article is from PC World. Read the full article. The link is in the description. A 4-person team recently discovered a way to remotely hack into almost every recent car made by Kia with little more than a mobile connection. They built a phone app that can scan the license plate of any car with Kia Connect functionality to gain almost total remote access to it. Another feather in the hat of an old Volvo here, the fact that you can't scan my number plate and then take full control of my car. So if people are turning away from overly complex modern cars, that is another very good reason to do so. As I said, the link is in the description. Go and have a read of that article for yourself. And lastly, in a similar vein, I got this email from someone saying, will the software always work? Every 2 to 3 years, I have to buy a new phone, not because it doesn't work, but the phone company stops supporting it. New apps don't work, and security and access becomes an issue. My first phone was a Nokia, and that's my point. Supporting old technology is expensive and restrictive. The newer software invariably needs to be updated. It needs updated hardware to accommodate the firmware and the software. In the old days, manufacturers had to maintain spare parts for a number of years, and after that they went to third-party manufacturers and then specialist suppliers. For example, you can still buy parts for a 1953 Morris 1000. Today's new cars can have as many as 50 separate processors, all controlled by various versions of software. The email then goes on, but I think it makes a really valid point. All of these modern cars that we're being told to buy because they're better for the planet and it's better for the environment because they have less emissions are not being supported for as long as older cars in terms of keeping them on the road, which means they need to be replaced, which is therefore worse for the environment. And I just got off the phone from a gentleman that works in old Volvos, not unlike myself. He does a lot with V70s and slightly newer cars than I do. And he was explaining to me that they are now struggling to get rear brake pads for certain Volvos from 2012, 2014. So these cars are only around 10 years old, and already Volvo are discontinuing part supply of basic maintenance parts, not complex parts. This is just rear brake pads. So if you take your 2014 Volvo to Volvo for some brake pads, Volvo will then have to phone their local motor factor and get some third-party brake pads because they no longer supply them themselves. And I can guarantee that that is just one anecdote of stuff that's happening across the board. Finally, in my video with George, my Lazy Sunday video, we talked about George's red 1992 850 saloon, and both of us commented that we would never, ever, ever find a red 1992 850 estate for him to buy. George just said he'd really like to find a pre-facelift estate to tow his pre-facelift saloon. And so I just don't think it's going to happen. They're just not around.
It's not going to happen, but it'd be funny if it did.
Oh, it'd be great, yeah. Yeah. And on the exact same day that that video went up, to just completely prove that Geoff buys cars and George, two Volvo experts, know absolutely nothing about the Volvo market, one popped up for sale yesterday. Here's some photos of it. So, yeah, full on egg on our faces there. We were trying to find a very rare car, and then one popped up on the exact same day. That is it. That is my roundup for today. I will be doing another video. I was going to knock out a slightly more clickbaity video today, but I thought, no, it's more important that I give you that rundown. Because GB News are now saying that the UK needs to step up to fix the worst ever electric vehicle crisis as drivers refuse to switch. So maybe we'll cover that one for an evening video. So that's it. That is my roundup for Monday. Lots of cool content coming this week. And if you think I've missed a car-related story that I haven't yet covered, then do let me know. geoffbuyscars@gmail.com. Always looking forward to your emails. And if you want your email to be dealt with as a priority, then always make the subject Geoff Volvo for sale. Thanks for watching.